Well, welcome back to the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motul, our mid-season catch-ups. We're joined in studio, literally across from me, by Penrite Honda's racing Troy Herfoss. Troy, welcome. First of all, welcome down to Melbourne. I'm sorry, apologies in advance for any cold weather that you get, but welcome into the studio.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Believe me, it's not an issue coming to the cold weather. It's done nothing but rain up north, so happy to be down here in Melbourne.
Have you had any time on the various bikes?
Yeah, I've been riding. Last week I had a couple of days in Sydney and I've got another few days in Queensland planned. I've been lucky enough to take a superbike home from QR round. It's been living at home with me, and yeah, although I'm not that good at working on bikes, so I've got to take my time there, but yeah, it's good to be doing a bit of riding.
And fitness-wise, back on the push bike, obviously?
Yeah, I tried to do one of my favourite races last weekend, the Grafton in Vrel, which you know quite well. No, and yeah, it just didn't go well. It was a bit of a reality check, so... Missed
that early split and you're no good, eh?
No, not even. I just suffered all day until I couldn't suffer anymore, and that was it. So anyway, that's fine. I'd done well to get to the start line, and now I know where I'm at, so I just got to keep working a bit more.
I'll pick up that point a little later because I want to talk about fitness and so on. All right, so mid-season, in advance of the last round, we gave a bit of a report card. I think I gave you a 6 or a 7 out of 10, which I think by your own estimations would be about right. In terms of your determination, it's always 11 out of 10, but outcome is what really matters here, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And the reality is that you don't, when you're given a report card, you don't look at the injuries, you just look at the results, and the results say I'm failing at the moment.
No, 6 out of 10 isn't a fail.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's why I failed at school. I didn't realise that. But yeah, Wakefield was acceptable. Like, I made a couple of mistakes in the races, but in general, I felt like I'd done a good job over the race weekend. So now I'm slowly progressing, and we're going back to Darwin, which is a track I've always been really competitive at. And I'm definitely, like, this bit of a break we've got is definitely helping me. Like, I'm getting stronger by the day, and just more confident, really. Like, after Queensland, I felt good on the bike, and then Wakefield, to be honest, I felt pretty normal. It was a case of if there's another race on the Monday, I think I would have made that step to the front guys, because as you've seen in the races, I was really strong at the end of the race. I just lacked a bit of either confidence or something with the bike in the first few laps where I couldn't get the lap time like I used to be able to do, and maybe that's a bit of experience with the move to Pirelli or whatever. I
was going to say, you've got a few variables in play, and I think we talk about in racing variables, changing bike, changing team, changing tyres, and for you, I think injury has been a variable that you haven't been able to control, obviously, and the bike to a degree you obviously can. But combined with your injury, is it hard to work out where you're at because of that? Yeah,
it's been really hard. Like, you don't want to harp on about, everyone's always whinging about their problems, but like this year we've had, obviously the injury. Unfortunately, we lost Paul Free last year. He moved on to another team.
He's available now, by the way.
He's available again now, yeah. And then we had a switch from Michelin to Pirelli. So, yeah, like, really hard. It's really hard when you're in your best physical fitness and you're 100% confident to make changes like that. Mm-hmm. Luckily, Dion works above and beyond. He's made sure I've got, essentially the best crew chief in the country helping me, and he's done his best to put the best tyre under me for the races. And whether or not that was a great decision, we don't know yet. We're definitely competitive, so that's good. And now it's just, we're sort of filtering out the variables now. And I think going to Darwin, we've sort of got a really good base coming out of Wakefield, and where we've got a lot of experience there, and we know where the bike is.
Yeah, look, I think it's fair to say the fitness is, when you say at Wakefield you're coming good at the end of the race, I think that's a sign that fitness is back, because, we take ourselves back to the Phillip Island test, and you were saying to me you can barely put together a sector, like you were doing sectors to find out an ideal lap, to find out where you're at, because you just didn't have the strength and the endurance. And I was thinking, to be honest, I'm not sure you should even race at round one. I think the back half of the race is going to be both difficult and potentially dangerous. And yet here we are now talking about Wakefield and saying, well, late in the race it came good. So is that a confidence booster to you?
Yeah, it's so good, and I can't believe how far I've come, to be honest, because you don't want to know the thoughts going through my head at Phillip Island. It was, it was not
we saw him up close. Yeah,
it was really hard for me. Like, for the first time in my career, I was just struggling so bad, and like it felt like I was going so fast around the track,
Yep.
It was scary.
And
I'd get there and see the lap time.
And the lap time didn't reflect that.
Yeah, and that was sort of like, that was just my brain, really. Like, it wasn't even the physical side half of it. It was just, I was just scared. And then to be now essentially at Wakefield, I'm essentially one of the strongest guys again. And in the back half of the race, I was definitely one of the strongest. So now I'm going into round 4 with the potential of maybe getting a podium or winning races. It's pretty exciting, and it's such a relief, to be honest.
Now, I came up to your truck while we were at Wakefield, and none other than motocross, legend is the only way to describe him, Stephen Gall, had popped by. I gather you've been doing some training with him. What influence has he had, both in terms of, because I know he's had you out doing things physically, but also mentally? There's a bloke who's come back from injuries time and time again, and God damn, he's still looking in fine form, isn't he?
Yeah, probably the best looking 65-year-old I've ever seen.
Annoyed the crap out of me.
Yeah, he was at Talon Bend last year watching. And I've known Gawley for a lot of years, and obviously I sort of pride myself in being healthy and fit, and he's a guy I've always looked up to. And he only lives 5K from where I live, and he had a hip replacement around the same time I had my hip fixed. And he just messaged me after Talon Bend and basically said it was hard to watch, and we should hook up and do a bit of training together. And he's...
Straight in.
Yeah. So I think for about 2 months we're 3 days a week in his garage and kayaking and doing core and bodyweight exercises, and he's always so competitive, and he helped me so much, like crazy. And not only that, I finished the session, head upstairs, have a coffee with him, and just talking through his experiences, and it's definitely a confidence booster to have someone like that helping you out.
And you look at, and I'm going to try to wrap this part of it up, this phase of the year up. But, it was evident at Phillippi you're not having fun of any description. Although you said, you felt good and the bike felt like you were fast, times weren't there, have you been able to sort of get back to the fun of the actual mere joy of, letting the clutch out and going out of pit lane and riding a factory superbike at one of Australia's many circuits? Is that back to being fun again?
Yeah, that's, and like the reality was, I don't want to sound like a spoiled kid or brat, but I was really unhappy. Like, I wasn't enjoying it at all, and it wasn't until the race started at Queensland Raceway, and I felt that I was competitive, and I wasn't sort of, my body wasn't holding me back as such. I wasn't in danger because my body just was too weak. It was a lot of fun there, and then Wakefield Park was a lot of fun. But even up until Wakefield Park, I wasn't really enjoying going out in a practice session.
Yeah,
I was just enjoying the race, because in the practice sessions, I don't know, I just think about what can go wrong, I guess. And then it was literally the last week I went to Sydney and done 2 days at a track day, and it was like 40 people on track, people crashing everywhere, lap times varying like 30 seconds. And I enjoyed 2 days of riding my bike. I'm like, that's a relief, because that would have scared the hell out of me a month ago. But I'm starting to feel like I can just enjoy going to ride the bike. Plus, after Wakefield, I got sort of the tick from the doctor, and
well, you're allowed to ride a bike again?
Well, yeah, he just said that, look, it's healed as good as I think it will, and it looks really strong, and, you're not going to be a marathon runner, but you can, if you're enjoying riding your bike and you do it without pain, then go for gold.
All right. Let's move forward to Darwin. As you said, it's a circuit that A, you've been successful at, and B, you quite like. Crashes aside, it is a mixed circuit. We were talking about how, the back half of it's for a bike that handles, and the front straight you've got horsepower. Do you feel like you've got a package that suits it now? Yeah,
well, I really do. Like, our biggest issue with this bike is like it's like a 2-stroke. It's so powerful.
Yeah, right.
And it hits so hard. It's been a lot for me to adapt to it, like post injury, because it's a bike I was so used to, and I think you needed to be confident to get the most out of it.
Yeah, I think Mick Doohan would agree with that. The 500 2-stroke era, he certainly had that overwhelming confidence, really, didn't he?
Yeah, and the bike just it's angry. So for somewhere like Darwin, it's good. The bike's got a lot of top speed, and we're working hard in the background. Well, the guys are working hard in the background to try and make it a bit easier for me to ride, and definitely at Wakefield we made big improvements on that. Being such a tight track, I was pretty happy with how it felt there.
Yep.
And there's a few ideas for Darwin. So yeah, I'm going to have a fast bike, which is exciting. Like last year, basically, I was really comfortable there in the races last year, and it was just an unfortunate miss up. And the funny thing is, not funny, nothing's funny about it, but like it was just an embarrassing first lap crash. Like I just pushed hard in the first lap.
Too much. Trying to get on the back of the train.
And And it was just that, unfortunately, there was a wall there.
Yeah.
If there wasn't, I would have got up, Dan would have clipped me around the ear and said, "What are you doing, you amateur?"
See you at race 3.
Yeah, see you at the next race. But anyway, I can go there knowing that it was just it was a pretty freak accident.
Yeah.
And I made a mistake, and that's all there is to it.
Now, competition at this round, because we've had a funny little evolution. Like, we all know when we go to Phillip Island that Maxwell, W will be somewhere near or at or way off the front. And then you guys kind of fight it out. Second, third, fourth can be a little bit up for grabs. We were surprised when we went to Queensland and Mike Jones was like, bang, straight out there. Wakefield probably started to bring the two back together. Darwin, apart from yourself, obviously going to be competitive. Who are we looking for? Maxwell, obviously, but do you think that the Yamahas are going to have what it takes up there as well?
I think that there's a lot happening. Like, I obviously do this full time, so I look at every lap of every rider and I study it a lot. And yeah, it's strange the way the year's played out. Like if you take away how dominant Wayne was lap by lap in Phillip Island, he actually hasn't gone as good this year as he did last year.
Yeah. But it seems everyone's a little slower than previously too.
Yeah, the races at Wakefield were slower than last year, and the conditions were good. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
And at Darwin, at QR, we've only raced there once in the last few years, but
yeah.
I done a test there last year before Darwin, and Mike was extremely strong, like really strong, stronger than he was at the race, I believe. And so I think he's just doing a really good job at the moment. But I think if Wayne finds the form from last year, he'll be hard to beat. And Brian's been exceptionally good at Darwin in the past.
Yeah, he had a horror show at Wakefield, just couldn't get it to hook up.
Yeah, but that's not where he's at. He had a difficult weekend, and maybe a tyre choice, from what I hear, may have held them back. So I'm pretty confident that, one, he's a fit guy, and two, he's going to be confident from the previous years. So it's really not. There's no one sort of taking the bull by the horns at the moment, except Mike's always at the front. He's probably the best of us at the moment. So, but I do believe in the back half of the season, we haven't sort of got the places set in stone like previous years. There'll be probably still 4 or 5 of us battling it out.
Now, we said that for you the championship isn't a possibility, but like a Tour de France general classification contender who's dropped out of contention, your opportunity now is to run interference on the championship, isn't it? Effectively, like, get in there, get some wins, do the thing, put your team on the top of the box. But does that take some of the pressure off once the championship slipped away early, or do you still feel that pressure to perform because you're in the factory red colours?
I want to perform. I want to hold on to my spot for next year, and you just don't know what can happen in racing. Like a couple of years ago, in 2018, I wrapped the championship up with like a 75-point lead. So I don't know how that happened, but all I done that year was I was first or second each race. So if that was to happen for the rest of the year, and there's potential for the good guys. Like, there's potential for Mike, say, to have a good weekend and finish 5th, because that's how close we are at this stage of the championship. So if I can get,
are you still?
If I won 3 races in Darwin and he got a couple of 5th place, well, that's a big chunk of the championship to swing my way. So it's not over.
No,
I'm definitely not quite in the form I have been, so I can't go there knowing I'm going to win. But I definitely feel like I'm going to be competitive, and top 3 in the championship's definitely my aim. And I just want to finish off the year with the speed and the confidence I've had in previous years, so that Honda and Dion know that I'm not sort of going anywhere.